hunt, join the team when it really matters. So I think it's not out of the realms of possibility.
Okay, bringing our China expert in, what else do they have?
Leoric. On Hugo, you mean, or just in
yeah,
general?
Hugo in particular.
Leoric. He plays a great Leoric. Sonya could work as well, but that's about it. I don't have more.
That's their bag of tricks.
Sorry,
Okay,
Hugo. Don't pick the Malthael again.
So we either go into a Nubric Illidan composition again, or we're just trying to go for AFK on lane Leoric.
Maybe.
All right, fair enough. I mean, that's not... Leoric doesn't scream to me the same level of aggression that I expect from Illidan.
You know, that's actually how they qualified for this tournament as well, with a legendary Leoric game coming in from Hugo, being the top damage dealer at the end of the game after level 22 or 3 with constant resets on the Skeletal Swing. So it's definitely a hero that he feels very comfortable on.
That sounds like an interesting game, to say the least. What was the damage dealer?
When you think about China, interesting is a word that comes to mind when it comes to drafts, and we
that
love it.
That is a good point,
you know?
yeah. I mean, the entertainment value that we get is pretty awesome. Tracer banned out twice by BlossoM in the series so far. This is going to be game number 3. TheOne... Maiev.
Yeah.
Is Connor getting sick?
I don't know. There's been...
You okay, buddy?
Maybe he stayed too close to Jehao.
Yeah.
If you've been following us on social media, then you know what we're referring to.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit worried about him.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Take good care, Josh. We don't want to lose you.
TheOne thinking about this pretty
Jehao
aggressively
has become a very expressionistic character.
Yeah.
A very colorful bird in our cage of casters.
A parrot.
A parrot.
A parrot.
Talking a lot of... yeah, okay. I'm dropping this right now. Maiev, thank you. Okay. I'm always scared when I see them hesitate on this one because they already nearly let it through last time. So Genji is once again taken. And I feel if... This is the thing. If you really think, okay, Hugo, we need you in Illidan, then for me, I would be very afraid that BlossoM bans out Illidan on the second position. Even though, I have to admit that if you go into something along the lines of, let's say, Uther Greymane again, the same opening they used the last time, the reaction of BlossoM was to ban out Abathur, and Abathur is pretty darn good on this map. So even if Illidan is banned out, but you get access to Abathur instead, you are in a spot where you're saying, okay, this is actually looking pretty cool. We have a copy on Greymane. Good luck.
Yeah, you definitely have to consider that when thinking about the draft. And it's a weird spot because, like, suddenly if you pick an Illidan, you grab the Tyrael instead, you get the Uther. No matter what you do, you give some kind of protection over to that Genji.
The other thing is that I also feel BlossoM has showed their hands already a bit when it comes to Abathur play, because they pick it very early. Because BlossoM has banned out Abathur twice, and to me that signals we don't play Abathur. So there's no reason why they would pick it away. But apparently TheOne has already identified that with all the Abathur bans coming through, they will never have a shot of heading into Abathur themselves, so they pick it super early together with Uther, drop Greymane for now. So Greymane, Illidan still available as potential substitutes for Abathur. And yeah, I'm liking this. Let's see how BlossoM reacts to it. BlossoM banning Abathur, and the reaction of TheOne is, you know, we're just going to pick him, and we're going to try and get some good synergy for him later on in the draft.
And even if Greymane gets picked away by BlossoM now or gets banned in the second round, there's still other ways to make Abathur work, right?
Totally.
There's still the mage route. Like, we haven't seen a lot of mage play in this tournament necessarily, but there's always the Jaina threat. Even a Gul'dan could come in very handily.
There's always a mage threat. There's always the possibility of double Arthas as well,
Absolutely.
which is incredibly good when it comes to control. For now, BlossoM will move into Malfurion and Garrosh, the 1-2 combo that we saw a lot on Friday. Throwing a target into a Malfurion route usually equals dead target.
Think back to the game that CE played at the very first day of this tournament, when they went stun, stun, stun all day long with a double Anubarak, an Uther Divine Storm. I think maybe TheOne could go in a similar route here.
Could be. We've seen a lot of displacement / CC type of compositions, and if you have the coordination, which is something they pride themselves on, you can pull it off.
I also have... I think Li Ming might be a decent ban, considering that BlossoM already played it before. I also have to correct something. Now, BlossoM plays Abathur. They don't play him on all the maps, but on Towers of Doom, they've actually shown him once. More often than not, they're banning Abathur out, but if they play him, I think we've seen them so far only use him on Towers of Doom, one of the reasons why TheOne might have tried to pick him early. And the last time it was also with a Zeratul setup. But for now, they're more worried about having something along the lines of the Rat again coming in and nibbling away at a potential victory. So ban against him, it is. And that is the second time that they're banning. The third time, actually, that they're banning Junkrat.
Yeah, the Illidan, look at that respect they've got from the Hugo right now. I mean, if you ban away the Junkrat, you're kind of giving away what you're trying to do. Junkrat is all about causing mayhem, dislocating people with a concussion mine, especially on Towers of Doom. It's so tricky sometimes. If you fall behind a wall, it takes you so long to get back. So what is susceptible to that? A full aggression style with Illidan, maybe with a Greymane. So I actually quite like that Junkrat ban.
Just in general, too, just having that Garrosh on the opposing side and having double displacement is
Yeah.
very annoying to deal with. And if you have to tiptoe around a fight, which is something the One is showcasing they do not want to do, it is a weird position to be in. And speaking of weird positions to be in, Malthael picked up again for the One, Greymane as well. Will the Malthael pay off for them this time?
I feel it has to. The way that they've been banning, so for me, it's simply, as we said before, I expected them to go for Uther Greymane at the start and then putting BlossoM into a spot where they need to either ban Abathur or Illidan. They decided against it and said, we prioritize Abathur higher. So there was a chance that BlossoM on their second ban takes out Greymane because they don't want to risk a double Greymane, also a Greymane with a symbiote, or Illidan. They decided to favor out Illidan, so I feel that the One is absolutely okay with this setup. It's one of those things that you have to expect if you go for the gamble with the opening that they chose. So instead they head for the third time now into Malthael. They lost both times that Hugo played on Malthael, but this could be the difference, especially since he's still in a position where he can use the camps, which he has done on Sky Temple, on Dragonshire quite frequently. So if he dominates the top lane through that, that would work in their favor.
Looking for more damage for BlossoM to finish out this draft. It'll be a Hanzo, and then a global to answer back that Abathur. Dehaka again for WizGod.
Yeah, so currently BlossoM with the question, okay, what's better than one Overwatch character? It's two Overwatch characters.
Simple
so
math.
they get both of the brothers, twice the value.
Yeah, and you know, heroes like Dehaka that can apply a little bit of global pressure are normally very good against Abathur because due to the lack of an additional body in the early game, you can't always keep those cheeky side lane pushes in check. And for that reason, oftentimes we see in Hero League like these infamous combos with Lost Vikings against Abathur. Of course, not really to be implemented here in the professional scene. The Vikings are long lost and gone, but there's a similar principle here, so I like the Dehaka pickup, although I think it was actually Wiz himself who said that he's not in the best spot in the current meta right now.
You just made me sad.
The Vikings?
Yeah.
It would be great to see them, though.
Liquid tried them.
Yeah.
They actually did on Curse, and it didn't really work out for them. But it makes me sad. I like them.
Well, you like this guy, too. A guy with a beard and a hammer. Muradin coming in for the 5th pick for the One.
Yep, because he kicks ass.
That he does. He said it in the trailers.
Yes, he
Quite literally.
He did.
Yeah.
We won't get fined for this, right?
A wee bit overshadowed. I'm horrible with that accent.
Not
but still,
only
it's
that-
No, I
super
thought you
funny.
nailed it. I was like, wow,
Really?
is Muradin in here? Like, what's going
But
on,
Muradin at
guys?
the same time is just such a fabulous target for an Abathur hat. Like, we can't forget
Yep.
about the resilience, the self
yeah.
regen he gets from that. He can become an unstoppable machine.
I mean, the targets here are all great. I mean, Malthael to a degree. You have the Greymane.
Malthael copy cannot be underestimated.
Yeah, and then you have the Muradin as well. Later on the stage, 13-16, when he becomes the 4th that can sit on the back line and really do what he wants, so he continues to hold that back line, and you can have their hat on top of it. It becomes annoying. This is a good composition for late game for the One, but I'm just worried because I feel like besides game number 3, the early game so far, they haven't really been in control.
I still like that draft more than what we've seen in the first 2 games, and they have just taken a map of BlossoM, so if they can make that 2, then I'm going to be a happy panda. If they just put up a good fight, then I feel this is also respectable. So let's head straight into this, especially with Abathur being the little slugger, the little game changer that usually wins you easily the solo lane. So that should give Malthael a bit of an edge, but yeah, we're heading into game number 4. BlossoM going up against the One, still in the lead and 1 map win away from taking the series and advancing to the next round.
So we're going to keep an eye on Gondor and the song here. So far, they actually on Friday had some pretty good synergy between the Malfurion and Garrosh combos, getting a lot of early picks. The One will play a little bit more reserved to see if they don't get picked off. And speaking of getting picked off, an immediate throw here for Hee straight into a root will chunk him down to a quarter health. But that's one of the appeals of playing a Muradin. Typically, he can take a brunt fight at the beginning.
You do not simply take down the dwarf.
You simply do not. That is very, very true.
Yeah, he survives, and he's good at doing exactly that.
Living and being handsome is the goals and life of a Muradin player. So already, the clear for the One helping out pretty helpfully here. And they're grouping up as 4, and just letting Abathur just kind of side soak.
I'm really happy that you summed up what Muradin's life is about, because I was going for standing tall, and then I remember that that's the one thing that he can't do.
You can't go that. That's kind of me, man. That's hitting him at the knees.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
I can't get that low.
Oh boy, TheOne are doing all right here controlling the bottom side. My question is, how are they going to handle the sapper phase that you typically see from a lot of teams? Malfield's peeled off. He's trying to help out the Abathur. With Dehaka pushing in, it starts to become kind of annoying, and you'll start to lose out some of that turret damage there. So if they go into sappers, they have to be careful, because BlossoM does have a pretty strong invade team with Garrosh leading the charge.
Yeah, but as long as Malthael is around there, I feel you can definitely pull it off. And here comes once again Abathur moving in immediately. Also, we need to talk about his build in a second, but Meng first of all gets taken out, and yep, that did not work well. Hey is also trying to escape here, but the ninja might be too much. It doesn't work. And talking shield, that was what I was about to mention, because we have a symbiote build for Abathur. So we don't see the meta build, which is exactly what you just mentioned, shield focused.
Typically getting that Carapace coming in there, giving you the heals. If that had been there, perhaps Muradin could have survived, but a different build coming in from TheOne. But losing those sappers, that hurts, especially in the early game on your side of the map. When you have sappers pushing into you, that means your opponents can typically move into their sappers, grab that pressure already, which hurts right before the 3 altar phase. But TheOne, they answer back. Hugo and crew find a kill on Genji.
That was actually an important one, because BlossoM was starting to take a significant lead in the experience, so getting that kill mitigates that to an extent and allows for at least a short period of relief where you can take a camp at the top lane quite easily. So that was a very, very important move right here. So right now, we still have a bit of pressure at that bot lane through the Sapper camp, as we are seeing here, but up to the top. 1 camp taken, Malthael claiming it, moving back and preparing for the triple altar phase, where we're going to see an even exchange between the top left, top right. The Slug even moving out aggressively to capture it. Interesting. And in the meantime, everybody else is just trying to go through the bot lane to get this one.
A bold move by that Abathur too, especially with the Genji on the field and him already being at half health from the earlier harassment. He did have a Malthael to back him up, but woof!
Yeah,
it's scary.
Slug with a suicide wish, if you ask me, but it worked out.
Sure did. BlossoM taking an experience lead and also looking to take a core lead here as they channel the altar. Oh, the cocktail barely missing. Gondor is able to finish the channel, get a few more shots on the core, and BlossoM will take a lead, 36-32.
Yeah, I expected them to delay it a bit more, but didn't quite work out for them because of the range decrease. So now Wiz at the top lane, doing his thing against Malthael, but this is exactly what we've been mentioning a bit earlier. If you have an Abathur, then you usually lose the solo lane. That's the one thing that will always happen. The moment you find yourself locked in a 1 versus 1 battle, Abathur is going to start and cheat that.
I'm watching BlossoM here to see if they're going to try and get any more damage on this bottom side. Ooh, a bit of an odd interaction there. A throw into a drag into a possibly dead Hugo. He's trying to juke here. Can he get out? No way he's going to live through this. Kai's on the bottom. He gets the shields. Happen. Okay, he gets picked off, but...
That would have been the escape of the century. But he actually bought a lot of time for the rest of the team, but they need to be careful. This is coming back to the question, how do you move on the map when you don't have vision? And with BlossoM nowhere to be seen, he should have been a bit more cautious in his rotation between lanes, because it's of course something that BlossoM expects. They were waiting for these rotations, and they exploited it quite nicely.
Especially when you have a Garrosh Malfurion combo, you know those two are going to be together, and they're going to need a damage dealer with there at some point. So if you do get caught, you're probably going to get picked off. Bit of a mistake there by TheOne, and they are starting to pay for it. 8 to just now 7 hitting here. TheOne will have to deal with the sappers going to be pushing on the bottom side. Yeah,
that worries me as well. If they can invade and maybe get a kill at some point, that would be fantastic, but the question is, can they really pull it off?
They're trying.
Yeah, they're trying to be aggressive, but this is still rough. Dehaka is at the top, and it's going to come in a second. He's already going for the burrow, but that could be the kill. We have Hey jumping out. Gonda is down. Can they go for the counter kill, though? Muradin is actually dead, as we see Dudu going in with Genji. Oh, Zato! And there are the resets. It's 1-2. That's a triple, and with Hugo, we could actually see that go into a quad kill even.
That may have been their tournament lives put on a camp. Going aggressive on the bottom left side. Sappers are grabbed. Hanzo will grab the bottom altar, and that'll push towards a fort. And if BlossoM can turn this into a bell tower grab on the bottom side against an Abathur composition, it'll be difficult for them to take it back.
You can give a lot up in the early game on this map. This is really one of the best comeback maps that we have in the game if you scale well into the late game, which TheOne arguably does with Abathur in particular. So they just took a massive, massive beating And now we're seeing them 8 points behind on the core and nearly 2 levels.
And
That's
10?
rough. Yeah, that's really rough.
Dragon's Arrow into a taunt. And there goes Murden, taken out right away. The Sappers were not cleaned up. And that Bell Tower, as I just mentioned, was the main focus for BlossoM. And they'll get it easily.
Oh, that hurts. That's rough. Yeah, if you have kids watching this, then send them out of the room, because this is gonna get ugly.
And it's not looking too good here, as TheOne loses their ult to the bottom right. They do answer back with the consolation prize by grabbing Sappers to the north, and that will take out a turret. Nope, not even a turret there, as it goes straight into the gate. Finally, one gets picked off. That gives them some experience. So now it all comes down to getting 10, trying to win a team fight on the next altar phase, which is the 1-for-1, which means BlossoM doesn't have to take it. BlossoM decides to even get aggressive and go for a boss.
I mean, can you blame them right now? This is really just one of those moments where the world is your oyster. You can do whatever you want. They could focus another bell tower easily if they wanted to, but this is just shot after shot fire. They invade the camp. TheOne moves in, they do all the work, and then at the last moment, BlossoM moves in and says, thanks boys, we're going to take it from here. Take that down, try to see if they can maybe get more, maybe get a kill. And you know what? In the meantime, while this defense is starting with only 10 seconds left, we have 2 alders spawning up at the top, and BlossoM could maybe even grab both of them, but they're not getting too aggressive here. Wiz is saying, okay, let's not throw this away. We have a massive advantage. Let's not risk too much here.
Yeah, they don't have to. They just got 3 Sappers to go into the bottom, which is a fine trade itself. They get 5 more shots coming out of the core. TheOne has yet to grab their altar, so they put a little bit of pressure on Genji here, who was trying to delay. TheOne should be able to get this channel, as it looks like Garrosh and Malfurion are nowhere near close enough. So they at least weather this storm, but look at the core shots. It's not looking good for them here, as 33-16 will be the current score at 8 minutes into the game.
Less than half the shots. Here comes the
Abathur.
arrow. Missing Abathur. Lucky.
But the thing is, with that arrow being down, BlossoM goes for a fight. They come around on the flank. Wiz will be able to use the brush truck to come in. And remember, with this bell tower at the bottom right, BlossoM is able to kite away and turn the fight around.
Oh, there comes last rites, and that is a dead Garrosh. Is that maybe the beginning of the comeback? Is TheOne able to pull that off here? They need to keep Zato alive, and they do.
Whoa.
But Genji is down. Abathur, the slug, is starting to prove some work.
TheOne having some fighting spirit still in them, and with those 2 pickoffs, they can take their bell tower back on the bottom right if they can get these many ways to be cleared up. Modern's doing his best to slow that down as much as they can, but TheOne starts to put a footing in this game.
Yeah, and they will reclaim the bell tower, as you already said. So, can they come back into this? And you know, if they actually start to make a bit of a comeback, they already are in that frustrating spot where they probably ask themselves, what would have happened if early on we would not have invaded that camp and lost the entire team?
Yeah, something to think about, but right now they can't focus on that. They have to focus on staying in the game here and winning the next couple of fights. The next altar phase will be one in the middle, which is definitely one they can win if they're on even talent tiers. And with 30 seconds until that altar does spawn, they can definitely achieve it. They just need to make sure not to get picked off. And it looks like Murden gets away nice and safe.
The camp invade, of course, is a bit annoying, since if BlossoM take this one, they put the immediate pressure onto the bell tower at the bot lane again. But the 13 talent should be there, and that means so much transference for Abathur, and that is amazing if you are a Murden player, or if you are Greymane. Survivability is, in those cases, absolute key, so this is going to make it way harder for BlossoM to actually fight through these fights and get the kills.
This is definitely doable for TheOne. They have
Healing
set up our
static.
fight.
Also, it's perfect for survivability.
That's right, jumping on the back line. He doesn't mind if he gets caught there by the Garrosh. He'll take the free engage. Gondor, knowing this, hasn't thrown him yet. Wiz will burrow on in and try to potentially force a fight, while the rest of BlossoM will start the channel.
Yeah, and the channel is nearly through, but here comes the interrupt. Nice Stormbolt angling through. Tranquility being used, and it's party time, baby, as they are starting to move in here. Already, Hugo looking to drop Genji, or at least get him lowered. Here comes Murden, goes in and starts with a clap. Immediately the Stormbolt following up. Genji moving out barely, but TheOne is really bringing the punishment now.
Yeah, Dudu takes the damage from last rites, gets chunked out and has to walk away from the fight, and Song will have to heal him on up. But Hugo starts the channel with the block there from Murden. Hugo almost gets it, but he actually just get interrupted.
Takes the arrow to the knee, but in the meantime, Genji is down, and that is only the beginning. We have Hehe maybe in trouble, but here's third wind, and that's going to kick in just a second. But the tongue, the drag, Greymane down, as BlossoM is showing signs of life in this battle.
That they are, but Hugo's wanting to win this fight. He turns around, he jumps on Wiz. Wiz with the burrow will survive. Hugo gets thrown over the corner. Gondor forcing the kill. Wiz hitting a drag as well on top of Uther. Looks like Zato's going to be down. He trying to get out of the fight, but Modern with the landing on top of him and the auto attack will get the kill.
What a fantastic team coordination by BlossoM. Several times it looked as if TheOne would just clean house, and then at the end of the day, it's BlossoM with the quad kill. Everybody with the exception of Abatha is eliminated, and they get the channel. Super impressive what BlossoM just pulled off here.
All coming down and catching that Greymane, being able to land that tongue and focus him down, taking away the damage from TheOne. Hugo just not enough on that mouthfeel to secure the kill. BlossoM opening up the map, moving towards level 16, pushing in the bottom lane, getting that Beltar low and taking Sappers. They're back on track from where they were earlier in the game.
As he said, that one kill, that was all that they needed here. And the Haka, tongue like a homing missile, making sure he gets like through the little corners there and somehow connecting. I don't even know how, because that looked like an impossible skill shot to land. But he pulls it off. They get the kill against Greymane. With him gone, even the Abatha and Muradin combo couldn't really stain it. Now the problem, of course, 16. Just on the horizon for BlossoM.
And the 3 altar phase is about to be coming up here, where BlossoM with having Dahaka should be in a position with that 16 talent tier that you mentioned to grab 1 to 2 of these altars. TheOne using a mule there to keep that Beltar on top nice and healthy, but the middle hurt and getting focused, but he's able to hop out.
Yeah, the arrow actually hitting full force here, and now he hops out. He gets the immediate help of Abatha. Abatha even committing to the copy here, going for the double Greymane. Not sure if he really needed to burn that cooldown, but with Avatar already being used, it felt that they were trying to force a fight here, even though they don't have level 16 yet. But now that the copy altar expires, they find themselves in an awkward position as the triple altar is 15 seconds away from activating.
Exactly. 60 seconds until we have the ultimate evolution back. Also, Avatar, a full minute as well. TheOne behind in a talent and behind in heroics. With Hanzo having his Reckon Zero up in about 30 seconds, he should be able to force a fight soon if BlossoM can delay long enough to the bottom part of the map. TheOne grabs their ult to the top right with the help of Abather. Can they delay on this bottom side or even grab it in time? So far, BlossoM is sharking on it.
With the way Abather is playing this, I'm just waiting for the Haka at some point burrowing behind him and taking him down.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm really just waiting for it, and I think he's tempted every single time he sees him there.
He's getting cheeky, but I feel like at the same time he kind of has to be cheeky. They're in a do-or-die situation with them being so far behind. Taunt comes out, Dragon Zero, Dragon Blade, and that is going to be members of TheOne being deleted here as they get turned into ramen by Genji.
Genji is just going zoom, zoom from side to side and takes them down. It's a triple kill. That was a fantastic taunt into arrow. It results in a quad kill, and that is an altar to channel and a boss to take. This is going to be game, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll see if Abather, with his ability to auto-attack opponents, can he walk in and steal this boss away, because BlossoM is on their way towards the said boss. And remember, this is a Hanzo with WB. Look at how quick they chunked this puppy down. That's right. BlossoM finishes up this boss. Abather doesn't come in, and if he did, he would be thrown away. BlossoM takes the series with a 3-1 over TheOne.
Taking the game here in a great victory for Team BlossoM. They slipped once, and that was of course on Cursed Hollow, but now they have taken the series and they're going to move on, making the rest of the tournament an all-Korean affair.
Yep, the last Chinese team is now officially out, but I will say, from TheOne, at least we got to see some new blood come to an international tournament, and they showcase what they can do, which is pull off some aggressive compositions. Now, from here, it's all about growth for them, trying to figure out what works for them, what they can switch up into. If their Illidan gets banned out, they need to make sure they have a plan B and a plan C available, but they have some progress, and that's good to see. It makes me happy for them. I want them to have some courage coming out of this tournament.
Especially since we have to acknowledge how the series went. They got slapped around in the first 2 games without even having a chance. Then they said, okay guys, this isn't working, let's be aggressive. They play their Illidan composition and they actually win. They go for an early core call, which I think was very well executed. And then on the third map, a few decisions where you can say, okay, that backfired, especially going for the camp and then falling far behind, but fighting their way back in with a bit more experience, with the big cleaner calls. That game could look different, or at least make it a lot more difficult for BlossoM. So from all the teams that we have seen from China going up against Korea, this I liked by far the most, because I can see the thought process. I can see that there's a lot of room for development there, whereas with SPT was very, very frustrated with a lot of the calls that they made. But this is really just a bit of a lack of experience, finding themselves now in this territory here. But they have shown aggression, and every single time they believed in themselves, they made the series look a lot closer. So I can get behind this. This was well played by them.
Yeah, we like the aggression, but it has to be with certain compositions. You have to identify when you have to give things up, and that was a full display on Towers of Doom when they got aggressive in that bottom left sapper camp. Had they played a little bit more passively there and said, you know what, give this away, we don't have to invade on our opponent's side of the map, by the way, with an Arbiter composition, they would have been in a spot where they weren't penned into weird situations and they got picked off towards that late start of the game.
What I really feel it comes down to is we always hear that echoed when we heard it, for example, when North America started to go to, or some of the North American teams started to go to the international events again. We've also heard it with teams that practice in Korea where they said, we can get away with this back home. But once we are on the international stage and we play against the best from each region, all of a sudden we can't play compositions anymore, make calls anymore that work back home in the league environment. And I think that's something that we've seen here displayed immediately. That call for the camp might have worked in China, where you know you have the better execution, you have the better team coordination, and you can through that win the fight and then get ahead. Here it didn't work out, but that's a lesson that you learn, and that's somewhere where you can adapt the next time that you move.
Now, with that being said, BlossoM gets the big win. We're happy for TheOne, but BlossoM will be the one moving forward, and we have our 4 Korean teams still left in the tournament. Very excited to see how BlossoM and Tempest will face off tomorrow, as BlossoM has shown a little bit of growth themselves here at the tournament this weekend. It feels like they're coming together as a unit, making the necessary plays in certain situations, but I want to hear from them. Let's go to Kendrick, who has an interview ready with BlossoM.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Kendrick, and I'm being joined by Wiz from Team BlossoM, the winners of this last best of 5. They took out TheOne in pretty dominant fashion. And my first question to Wiz is going to be actually related to the previous series they played today against Ballistics. So, 안녕하세요, Wiz. Thank you for joining us here. And I wanted to ask you, when you played against Ballistics, you faced them in the first game against a double support composition. Now, you won that game really well. What is your opinion on double support in general right now?
여기 선수 먼저 승리를 축하드립니다. 그 일전에 있었던 발리스타의 경기에 대해서 첫 번째 질문을 드리고 싶은데요. 그 첫 번째 경기에서 발리스틱스가 더블 서포트를 사용했고 그 블라썸이 승리를 거뒀습니다. 더블 서포트에 대해서 어떻게 생각하시나요?
일단 당해본 입장으로서 발리스틱스 투지온 조합은 일단 엄청 셌고 초반 라인전이 엄청 셌고 저희가 운 좋게 용기사를 타가지고 초반을 잘 넘긴 것 같아요. 그래서 저희 팀이 이제 후반에 엄청 센 조합인데 그렇게 잘 넘겨서 이긴 것 같아요.
So actually, it was really good. It was really strong in the early game. But fortunately, we have a dragon 2 times, and our ban pick is going to be getting better and better at the late game. So I think we can win the game at the late game.
All right, awesome. And my second question about this Eastern Clash is for you right now. The Chinese teams, they didn't really do so well. In fact, they weren't able to win a single series against the Korean team. Are the Korean teams just better at the moment, or what could the Chinese teams do better?
이번에 두 번째 질문은 그 중국 팀들이 이번 이스턴 클래시 한국 팀들을 한 번도 이기지를 못했는데요. 그 이유는 어떻다고 생각을 하시나요?
중국 팀이랑은 이렇게 직접 경기하는 건 처음이라서 잘은 모르겠지만 중국 팀이 강해진 건 맞는데 그만큼 한국 팀도 성장하고 강해져서 그런 것 같아요.
This is my first play against the Chinese team, but I think they are getting better. However, the Korean team we've got better and more experience than Chinese team.
Yeah, and speaking of that last series that you played against TheOne here, that one game that didn't really go so well, that was against Illidan. And I know that you're in favor of Illidan yourself. You played a lot in the HGC Korea. What is your opinion on Illidan, and how do you rate him in the current meta?
이제 1, 2단에서 대해서 세 번째 질문 드리고 싶은데요. 지금 HGC 코리아에서 많이 플레이한 것으로 알고 있는데 지금 현재 메타에서 1, 2단에 대해서 어떻게 생각하시나요?
저는 1, 2단이 요즘 메타에 못 쓰인다고 생각했는데 당해본 입장으로서 좀 당황스러웠고 확실히 중국이 1, 2단을 잘하는 것 같아요.
In my opinion, I think it's not quite good pick in current meta, but we did not expect the Chinese team is going to use the Illidan, but I think the China team, they are very good at playing the Illidan.
All right, and last but not least, Wiz, I know that you were invested in the English scene and the North American scene back in the days. So maybe to conclude this broadcast, do you have some words in English for your international fans out there?
위즈 선수 지금 그 서구권의 그 커뮤니티에 상당히 많이 알려져 있고 많은 활동을 하셨었는데요. 일전에 그 서구에 있는 팬들에게 한마디 해주기.
Thank you for watching my games, and I love NA, EU, China, and Korea.
Hey, thank you very much. A round of applause there for Wiz. Wonderful words to end today's broadcast, but we're not done just yet. We're going to have one final day of Eastern Clash goodness. Tune back in tomorrow to find out who's going to become the champion. A lot of high-profile Korean teams are still in the race, so we'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.